You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one, with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any of those, so let's hear from Randy. I tried to change it to Randall, and it just was not how things were supposed to go. Okay? I'm sorry. Not how I wanted to start things. Randy in Minnesota. What's going on?
Hey, Ryan. It's Randy in Minnesota. I was just listening to Jordan's Love interview, and what a breath of fresh air to have a starting quarterback who says, I'm there for my teammates. I'm there to make everyone else better. It's like that whole group of, the veterans who thought they were above everybody else. It's all gone. Everyone's working as a team, working together. It's so refreshing. God, I love it. Another thing is, every interview I've heard with our rookies, specifically Bullard and our running back, my God, these guys sound like grown-ass men. I hope I didn't get believed for saying that, but these guys sound like grown men who know what they want and they're going to work for it. This is so cool this year. No more drama. No more Hollywood-type stuff. Just football. Gosh, I love it. And then I find out, I'm reading online, that Aaron Rodgers decides to not attend mandatory minicamp because he had another engagement that was more important to him. I think that sums up everything. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and thank you for digging a little bit deeper into the Viking stuff. What you read with that clown about how, Jordan Love was a fluke, basically. It won't happen. He'll regress back to being bad. That's the stuff I hear almost every day from these people. Anyway, I appreciate your thoughts on that, and I am so excited for this season. I am just so pumped. Anyway, go Pack, go. Bye.
Well, you're very welcome. And again, who knows, man? Maybe the guys are going to regress. I don't know, but I don't. My point, more or less, was that was not a very compelling argument. In fact, I don't even think they made an argument. It was just, hey, look at this data. I mean, I don't really know, but, it's here if you want to, draw weird conclusions from it. Okay, thanks, dude. But, yeah, look, we'll find out how much all this team camaraderie stuff actually matters and how much all the drama actually matters, because obviously the Jets are full of it now. It just comes with the territory, man. You want Aaron Rodgers on your team. That's just how it goes. This is one of the consequences of having a superstar. You don't have the ability to put the guy in his place, and so you kind of just have to rely on him to self-regulate. And if he decides he doesn't want to because the honeymoon period is over, which was last year, and he starts making plans during, when everybody knows mandatory minicamp is going to be, and then is like, oh, yeah, I'm really sorry. This thing is more important to me than football. On top of all the other drama going on with the Jets, the bottom line is they've got a pretty decent roster. The Packers are a very young team. Decently low expectations are on the league for whatever various reasons. We'll see what happens. I mean, if the Jets come out and just tear everybody up and they sail through the playoffs and, make a pretty decent run, then I guess it didn't really mean all that much. They were just fine as they were. But we'll see. We'll see if they end up underperforming, if the Packers can overperform because of how they're all coming together and whatnot. We will see. But obviously, I think all of us, including the Jets, would rather be in the situation the Packers are in terms of team camaraderie and the quarterback being attentive to the team and making that the priority and not whatever thing he's attending. But whatever. We'll see how it goes. And yes, very happy to be in the situation we're in.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
What up?
You just made me feel like an idiot, like a jackass. I feel like a jackass because, first of all, you talked about the NFLPA trying to work out something to change the schedule for OTAs and training camp and that. And I was like, I called a couple days ago and was like, explain to me how eliminating the OTAs is going to help with injuries. And, I didn't look it up. I was just looking for you to give me answers. So I feel like a real doucher because you explained it a little bit on today's podcast, not today, but whatever day I'm listening to, about soft tissue injuries and ramping up and blah, blah. It made sense. I guess I'm not a doctor. And I just was, before I was like, how is eliminating some physical activities going to help? I said, doesn't that help to work out in the off season? Isn't that something that's good to help with eliminating injuries? But anyway, so you had some explanation on that. Not to my question, but just randomly or whatever there. And then this Christine person is going off about her tickets, and you were going off about how she's a terrible person because she didn't look it up and she's just being a, but, yeah, now I feel like an asshole. So, sorry, dude. Sorry, I'm not an asshole. I mean, sometimes my wife does, I'm an asshole, but I'm really not. Anyways, so I wanted to apologize for, getting bent about the OTA stuff when I was uninformed. I should have got informed before I got bent. All right. Go Pack, go. Love you, bro. Out.
All good. The only thing you do need to apologize for is making me go back and edit all that. I was like, Randy dropped one, like a tier 1 swear. It's like one of those things. I don't even know if the TV bleeps it. I don't know. Not sure. And then you come in and drop one, and I'm like, I'll let it go. You get one, too. And then there's like 7 more. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, man. Now I got to go back. Here I go. All right, we got her all bleeped up. Andy from Kansas, what's going on? Andy? Andy from Kansas, what's going on? It's weird. It's 2 minutes and 31 seconds. It seems very specific. Nico.
Hey, Ryan. This is Nico. So,
from Idaho.
I haven't really got into the AI conversation, but I can see it ain't going anywhere.
Sure.
So, yeah. I get it. I'm kind of like you. There ain't much you can do. The world's a-turning. Stuff's going to happen. If robots do kill everybody, it won't be because they are unalive, whatever. I don't know the rules. If they do that, then it won't be because they, got a conscience and figured out we were the bad guys. It'll be because some nut job programmed them all to do that.
Right.
So, that's probably what'll happen. Honestly, though, when you think about it, let's say the government does make all these little robot dogs that can run around and tell you to get back in your house and, by the way, give us taxes. Could like the internet hackers just hack into them and make the doggies go back to the White House, or not the White House, to the people that sent them and say, hey, here's your doggie back. I don't know. Because usually, like, I've known a couple. Usually the hackers are better than, the government programmers. But anyway, I do sympathize with the musicians because, you can just tell AI to make you a song and then you can copy and go, look at the song I wrote. And there's probably already artists doing that because they typically take the path of least resistance because they're all douchebags. But I can tell you this, I also am an artist. However, my artistry isn't in making music. I mean, I have played in bands and written songs, so I get that. But my artistry is in putting particular seasons on meats and putting those meats in different containers, whether they be smoke-filled or have crates with charcoal underneath or maybe even a cast iron top. And the day AI can smoke a better brisket than me is maybe the day I'll get worried. But I don't think that's going to happen, Anyways, I like football. I know this is the time when nothing's happening and we talk about stupid stuff, so I get it. I can't wait till we have more football to talk about. Go football, and unless something's happened, I don't want to say it. I'll say it. Hope I don't jinx it. Hope no one gets injured. Yay, football, bye.
Man, there's like a yawn that comes on right at the end of a call. Like, I'm good. And then the call ends and it's like, no, I was fine the whole time. It's funny you mentioned that because it is kind of interesting when you look at this guy Meathead. You might know of him. I've maybe mentioned him before. He's real big into like food science. There's several people that are big into food science, which makes sense because if you want to cook food right, understanding the science behind it is going to really help you to make it really friggin' good. The problem with food science is that it takes some of the fun out of stuff, right? I mean, there are traditions, there are ways that people do things just because the way that they do it, and sometimes following the science is not always the most fun way to do it, and even believing it is kind of like, you don't want to believe it because you want to believe that you're going to master a better technique with all the smoke and this and that. Like, for example, theoretically, you cannot beat a sous vide steak that is just seared, right? On a cast iron, presumably, or whatever. It's like the best steak you can make. You don't want to believe that. I put a steak over coals on a Weber? I mean, come on. But, when you want to look for perfect time, texture, all that stuff. Same with a lot of the wives' tales that come along with grilling and smoking and whatnot. Some of it just isn't true. And that's kind of similar to potentially AI or any of these other things. Which people are going to say, you know what, this is just better. I don't care if it's the more fun route. And which people are going to say, I don't care. This is the way I do it. And I choose to believe that this is because it's what I enjoy. It's my hobby. And I'm not going to let science take my hobby away. Yeah, and then as far as the AI takeover thing, I was listening to Elon Musk promoted a guy on social media talking about the dangers of AI, and I thought it was all kind of silly. Not because it wasn't true, but there's two major flaws in what I heard him say. He kind of explained how, things could go negative. I generally dislike when it turns into desire, because I don't understand how desire comes into play. But let's just say that is a thing. His idea is more regulation. Two big problems with that. Number one, we can't regulate the world. We can only regulate the United States of America, and that's only people that are willing to play by the rules, which should be pretty much everybody, because the barrier to entry is now like $1 trillion worth of data farms. But still, we can't regulate China. You think they're going to play by our rules? Of course they're not. The other thing that is silly is he's talking about how, OpenAI apparently refused to dedicate 10% of their budget or salary or whatever to safety. And he's saying we need basically government regulations to come in and dedicate like 30% or 20% or whatever. If the entire premise is that once robots get smart, they're going to decide to do what they think is the best possible route, and that could potentially lead them to doing something that is not what we think is in our best interest, what exactly is 10, 20, 30% of a budget going to do? Nothing. If it has hyper-intelligence and it's pursuing a goal, what is the amount of money that you're putting out going to do? So, Anyways.
Hey, Ryan, this is Dakota, that nerd. See, what's up, y'all?
What up?
So, two things. I'll make the first one really quick. For those, that we're saying that AI is going to take over and attack us, bring it on. I'll fight them. I'll have a good time doing it, too. Come on now. I mean, we ain't quite there to, like, nanobot, or freaking Newtonian fluid, what are they called? Terminators out here that are, like, only can be killed if you drop them in the same lava that you drop the one ring that rules them all, whatever. Like, I ain't worried about that because we don't have that yet. So any Terminator comes out right now, I got you. Anyway, other than that, so I was just listening to the Fantasy Football Podcast, the Locked On NFL Fantasy, I think it's called. And, they were talking about tight ends that you can argue or you can come up and write a story that they become a tight end one, as far as fantasy points and make it believable. And Luke Musgrave was one of those. In fact, Matt Williamson is a huge Luke Musgrave fan and is pretty sure that he says even in the real world of football, Luke Musgrave can become a tight end one, just among all tight ends. He liked him better than, whatever, Michael Mayer, is that what it was? Mr. Mayer, whatever his first name was. Apparently if you want to hear somebody gushing over him, you can go to, the Peacock and Williamson, thing, and they talk about up and coming players, on one of their podcasts, and Matt Williamson's number one up and coming is Luke Musgrave. But even one of your favorite Twitter people ever, Kate Madge, couldn't even argue against the fact that, Luke Musgrave could very well put himself in the tight end one conversation this season. So, a little bit of fun, people randomly talking about us type situation. Anyway, yeah. Nice. Peace.
Well, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of what it means to be a one, tight end, wide receiver, whatever, at least not right now. But I think all I'll say is we saw some glimmers, and we saw him pretty early, and we know that he has the physical attributes to do it. He also has a very good offensive play caller and a solid quarterback. I mean, all the components are there for him to really break out. Beyond that, we'll just have to see. I think as far as the biggest hindrance to him being a tight end one in fantasy is the fact that he's competing with so many wide receivers as well as Tucker Kraft and the running backs. I mean, there's just a lot of places to distribute the ball in Green Bay. But from a talent standpoint, I mean, there's no roadblocks. Anyways, why don't we take our first break? We'll be right back. In the hobby, it's not easy of being a fan of ripping packs or repacks. We always hype ourselves up thinking we're going to get some kind of a mint signed Jordan Love card or something. But with zero transparency on available cards and hit rates, it's all just a shot in the dark. That is until now. Introducing slab packs from arenaclub.com, the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Now when I buy slab packs on Arena Club, I finally feel like I know what I'm getting. I don't know if you saw the video me and my son did. That was us on arenaclub.com looking for new cards for my kid. Still on our YouTube channel. You should check it out. They have an incredible website. Slab packs are way better than mystery packs. Immediately after your pulls, they put your cards safe in a vault. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club's got the card collection platform that you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/packdaddy. That is a crazy offer. 10% off a $400 slab pack. That's $40 right there. Anyways, that's arenaclub.com/packdaddy for 10% off your first purchase. What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Hello there.
Hi.
1265. So, I'm watching Rashawn Gary's locker room interview. I know nobody watches those, but people do watch them. I'm one of those people. I usually don't miss them, but a lot of times you can't hear the questions, especially depending on who they are, how close they are, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Anyway, Rashawn was great today. So they asked him about how Hafley's defense, is coming along, and how the young players are adapting, and how he's adapting, having his hand on the ground, and blah, blah, blah. And he said he's not having a problem at adapting the hand on the ground. He's done it before, and yada, yada, yada. And he says, this kind of defense allows for our young players to just pin their ears back and play without having to think. And I thought about that statement. And then I thought a little more about that statement. And I thought, as excited as I am about our defense this year, I better just put a little bit of brakes on with my all-out enthusiasm. I'm not saying they can't be great. They absolutely can, but there is going to be an adjustment period. We have a lot of young players, and, the whole just going, and if you're going to make a mistake, make it hard, blah, blah, blah. I think we're going to see a pretty good adjustment with that. I really do. And then, almost near the end of the interview, I didn't rewind to find out who it was or what the actual question was, but part of the question was how he felt about something. And Rashawn yelled, "Great!" like really loud throughout the whole locker room. And all the reporters standing around him all laughed. And then he looked at her and he says, I'm feeling great. I thought that was so funny. It's so Rashawn. But anyway, that's all I really had to call about. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility, right? If things get off to a slow start, maybe they pick it up second half, it won't be hard for us to figure out why that happened. If things are a little slow, no question, next year we're going to be talking about, hey, second-year leap, now they know what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. I will say, though, it's not impossible they hit the ground running. This is a good question because it sparks a thought of what I could look into in the future. But I remember looking into this in the past, and the amount of times that I found new defensive coordinators that came in and there was an instant impact, as in year one, and sometimes it's year one and then it starts to decline. It's different from case to case, but there were several instances that I saw. So it would be good, because this is probably back with Pettin, would be my guess, is when I looked at this. Because I remember I was looking at a whole bunch of different defensive coordinators. I was trying to pick out my favorite. It's kind of a new endeavor for me because we had Dom Capers for such a long time. And so I came up with a big list of people that I really liked. Didn't do that as much with the last two defensive coordinators because it ended up being kind of a fruitless exercise. But yeah, I should redo that and take a look at some of these teams that, there's a couple different ways you could look at it. Number one is teams that have brought on new defensive coordinators, what's happened instantly, but also look at the really good defenses and see how long it took for them to kind of pick things up. Because it's possible the last five, they fired their last defensive coordinator, they get a new one, and they still suck. But that's not necessarily what we're looking for. Let's assume best case scenario, this is actually a really good defense. What's the DNA of a good defense? Like, what does it usually look like? The only example that comes immediately to mind is the 2018 Bears. And like I said before, that took several years. I want to say that was year 3-ish, maybe even year 4 for Vic Fangio. So, yeah, there's a good chance you're right, especially given the exact play style and whatnot. You know, there's probably going to be some mistakes and whatnot. But we'll see. We will see.
Hi, me again.
Hey.
So, on the whole Packers team, who do you think has the best hair? Like, just think about it once. Who has the best hair? I know who my favorite is. Oh, my God. And I don't even think there's a competition. It's got to be Romeo Dobbs. Dude, his hair is everywhere, and I like it in every way. It's freaking awesome. But Romeo kind of reminds me, of Eeyore. You know, Eeyore, the donkey from Winnie the Pooh. But Eeyore actually was my favorite character on Winnie the Pooh when I was a little girl. I loved Eeyore. Probably because he was a donkey. I don't know what it was. But anyway, that's who Romeo reminds me of. But hey, if anybody else has a better selection on the hair thing, let me know, because that'd be a fun one. Who do you think has the best hair? Or hey, maybe even go facial hair. You know, there's that too. But man, Romeo has got it going. And so I still haven't picked my rookie to root for. And right now it's between Home Depot, Pratt, and King. I think that's who it's between. Funny enough, I know I always pick these out of not really, because last year my pick was Jaden Reed, and that was actually a pretty good pick, I have to say. But I've had a lot of rookies that I try to follow and, you know, hope they stay Packers that have not stayed Packers. So yeah, but I think Jaden might be a good one. I'm just not sure about the other three yet. I haven't gotten a good look at their I haven't gotten a really good look at their personalities yet to determine who I'm really going to go for. I guess I can seek out some stuff just to see more of their personalities, but I haven't really done that. I've just been watching Packers. You know, that's not all I watch, but I'm just saying when it comes to the Packers, I just kind of jump on their channel and look at their stuff and blah blah blah. But anywho, that's how that's working. So okay. All right, well, you know what? I'll talk to you later. I hope everybody's doing fine. Okay, bye-bye.
Doing good, and Romeo, stay clear, 1265 fan. She's, I'm just saying. My go-to answer for best hair is always Royce. There might be a better answer, but that's just my go-to. I know people have mentioned Sean Ryan. I get it. Still going Royce. It's just hard to beat a good mullet, you know what I mean? As far as my rookie, I don't know. I mean, the two guys that we drafted that I was relatively high on were Edgerrin Cooper and Pratt. So I should probably stick by my guns and say Cooper. It's hard not to get excited about a DB, though, and Bullard just keeps jumping out, as does Marshawn Lloyd, which is probably pretty stupid because I don't know what kind of a role he's going to have this year necessarily, but it's just hard not to get excited about him. There's a lot of other guys I'm excited about, but most of them are probably not going to play, at least not very much. So, yeah, I'll probably continue to lean toward Edgerrin Cooper, I suppose.
Hey, Ryan. It's me, Pedro, the redhead from Brazil, man.
What's up, man?
I'm sorry for my voice, but I'm really emotional right now. I just bought my ticket to the Packer game.
Hey.
It almost sold out. I was freaking out right here. I thought I wasn't going to make it, but I did. It wasn't the best ticket in the world, and it was pretty expensive, but you know what? I can't remember the last time I was so happy. Man, I'm gonna make a dream come true, you know? I just needed to share this with you guys, and I'm really happy. So send me some merch, send me some flag or something.
Yep.
I'm going to see the Packer, baby. Let's go.
Well, yeah, Pedro, shoot me an address or something, and I'll make sure to get you something. I'm not sure what. I'm guessing you're going to want to wear a jersey or whatever. So I won't send you a shirt because I don't want you to expect you need to wear Packernet merch. You should wear a Packers stuff. But we'll do something. Bandana or a flag or something. I will say though, the only thing I could think is how cool it is. First of all, that you get to experience that. It's not only a special thing for out of state, but out of country fans. I mean, for many of them, the thought of ever going to a Packer game is like, give me a break. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a big deal. So to have the Green Bay Packers come to your doorstep and to be able to get tickets, especially the emotional exhilaration, not only of actually buying the tickets, but kind of almost thinking, man, I might have just lost my opportunity here. And then, the excitement of, first of all, I didn't lose out. Thank goodness. Second of all, it actually just happened. It's just like it's real now. But aside from all that, the coolest thing is that your first thought was to call in and share that with us. So I really do appreciate that, and that means a lot. And we appreciate you, Pedro. We're all cheering for you. We're excited for you. And whatever we can do to make sure that you have the best freaking experience ever, let us know. By the way, here's a question for you, Pedro. What does pregame look like in Brazil? Like before soccer games and stuff, or football games, excuse me. What are you guys doing? Are you tailgating like we do? Or are you getting some brewskis going and you got some grills going? Or what does that look like? And anybody else that has any thoughts or ideas on how we can, we got people on the inside now, man. We got to make sure that we tip the scales in our direction, and we got to help to make sure that they get the full experience. I think even if you guys don't do that, assuming it's allowed, you should. I don't know if we can maybe send, I don't know how that would work. Could we send some freeze-dried brats down to Brazil? You get brats down there at all? Is that something that just doesn't happen? Because there are people like 2 states over that are like, what's a brat? Which shocked me, by the way. People from down south, you're like, what's a brat? I'm like, oh Lord, frickin' person. But yeah, man, we got to get you some. We got to get you guys some brats, and obviously burgers are solid tailgating foods. And you can ham it up too. I mean, you could cheese it up too, which do stuff that wouldn't necessarily happen at a Packers tailgate, but just in the spirit of things, have like a cheese plate. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are people up here with cheese plates. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, it's more of a celebrating the culture thing than anything else. But, I just, it's up to you, but I just think it'd be kind of cool if you guys could get like the full Lambeau experience. You guys get your Packer flags, you get the grills going, you get some brats and burgers going next to the coolers full of, we'll have to have some people send you down some Millers, some PBR, some real good old-fashioned white trash Midwestern beer, Good stuff. We'll see what we can do for you, Pedro.
Hey, Ryan, it's me again. I'm just too excited to work. I have a meeting in like 5 minutes, but I need to put some words out before that, so I'm going to use this call for this. I'm so happy. I've been working so much lately, doing a lot of extra hours to make some money to buy this ticket. I'm doing like, and for a minute, I thought I wasn't going to make it. It was selling out so fast. But, God, I did it. I just can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. It's wow. I'm just so happy. My God. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and all the Packers, you guys need to win this game. Okay? Don't mess this up for me. Let's go. Oh, my God. I'm so happy. I'm going to scream so much. I'm going to be way far from the field, but I don't care. I'm going to scream my limbs off. My goal is to scream so much that I won't have any voice for like a week.
Yep.
So, yeah. I just want to thank everybody here in the community. I just need to share this with you guys. I'm just so happy. Oh, that's cool. I have a meeting to go right now. So, yeah. Go Paco!
Yeah, it's a very doable thing, by the way. Some of you might remember the last time I went to a Packer game because that's what the next week sounded like. It was you could not hear my voice, and then it was actually pretty cool for, like the first day I didn't have much of a voice, and then after that it was just ridiculously deep. Sounded like a real man. So your calls into Packernet After Dark after the game might take you a couple days to get enough of a voice to call in, but they should sound pretty cool, I'm just saying. But we're all excited for you, Pedro. Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and hear from Garrett in Southern Illinois.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's PG.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
512 Whiskey declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, Pack Daddy, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois. I know it's worked quickly upon the dead zone period for the NFL, and I just thought I'd throw out some questions out there to fill up some time for Packernet After Dark.
Yeah.
So my first question is, which one is in your mind worse? The Bears having a winning season, having a winning record this year,
yeah,
or Mark Sanchez and Jonathan Vilma announcing every single Packers game on TV this year? Number two.
I mean, I'm going to take which one is worse? I'm going to take the Bears thing. Now, granted, I think they're going to have a winning record, so it may just be a waste of a wish, Now, if you guarantee me a losing season, then that would be a little bit better. But as far as which would be least pleasurable for me, it would be the Bears having a winning season. But again, I think they're going to anyways. So I don't know that it's going to make that much of a difference. So does that? I feel like that didn't make sense. But you understand what I'm saying.
What is worse? Jennifer Lopez's acting or having to eat nothing but veggie pizza for the rest of your life?
Veggie pizza. And again, I still haven't finished it. It's like 2 weeks ago I started that movie. But I didn't think she was like in the preview for whatever reason. I watched it and I was like, oh, this looks so bad. And I heard somebody else say that she was really bad and like it was just not a good movie. It seemed fine to me. Like I didn't really have any issue with it. And to my knowledge, she's not a bad actress. I don't know. Like that's kind of taken on a life of its own. I made that comment and now everyone's calling in like she's so trash. And it's like, oh. I mean, if she was bad, I'd say she was bad. I have no issue with that. I didn't think she messed it up. I haven't finished it though. Maybe it kind of goes downhill and the movie might just suck. Nothing really super interesting has happened yet, so it's going to have to pick it up. I'm actually got a movie right here that I'm going to be getting back to when I upload this and whatnot. It's called The Commuter. It's got the guy from Taken and some other people that I recognize. It's got whatever. But it's a little... it's not bad considering the amount of times I flipped through and try to find a new thing, and it was a complete waste of time. This was... I'm never going to watch it again. It's 2018, actually, so you may have seen it. Maybe it was a big deal at the time. I never heard of it. It's a little bit of like the plot doesn't make sense for 1,000,001 different reasons, but if you can get past that, then it's okay. It's fine. It hasn't ended yet, so I'm hoping there's like some crazy twist to kind of be like, all right, that was pretty good, but probably not. It borderline, and we'll see how the ending goes because it's culminating into that. It reminds me almost of Remember that movie? I think it was Denzel. I don't know if he got framed or something, but he went into... Oh, it's The Negotiator. The Negotiator is the name of it. Anyways, whatever. Negotiator's a better movie. I'm just saying it has a similar feel to it. And it's really just the ending part that I'm getting into that kind of feels like it, which, we'll see. The police are showing up, the cops are his old friends, and you just kind of get the feeling that, maybe the friends are the bad guys. I don't know.
Okay, so some serious questions regarding the Packers' upcoming season. I'm just starting to have a little bit of a tiny bit of an uneasy feeling when it comes to the foundation of what is the offensive line, when it comes to how much, having a player like Tom who's out probably into August with a torn pectoral, meaning that when he does come back, the guy will have not lifted any weights or done any strength training, other than training to, get back to 100% and rehabbing it. How far back do you think that sets him and this offensive line? Because I know the other guys are getting cross-trained, but frankly, I personally, I'm not a big fan of having Morgan train on the right side. I would be okay seeing him do left tackle and left guard stuff, but send him over to the right, I'm not a big fan of that. I personally would rather see a lot more reps for Monk and Ryan, and Caleb Jones on that right side, and just keep Morgan focused on doing left of the line stuff. So, and if heaven forbid that we have to replace Myers because more injuries with a center, I'd rather plug in Morgan at left guard and have Jenkins switch over to center than have 4 or 5 guys all in new positions. So I just personally kind of think if they're going to make a trade this year at the trade deadline, it might be for somebody for depth at offensive line or somebody who they need to actually step up and be a better player as a starter if these guys aren't protecting Love like they should. I know they've been serviceable last year, but I want to see the running game succeed, and that can't happen unless you've got really good run blockers, and we've just not seen that from this group. So crossing fingers, but it's the only group that I have an uneasy feeling about. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% insofar as we're talking about depth on the offensive line, possibly even talent on the offensive line. We got to see how many of these guys can actually play. I'm not as worried about Tom necessarily. It would be nice to get him some... obviously the more time, the better. But in terms of development, it's not like we're trying to take a guy from good to bad or, from bad to good or from even mediocre to good. He's ready to go. But obviously more reps just to kind of be up to speed and ready to go, with especially a new offensive line, whatever changes they've made, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm less concerned about that. And then also as far as like left and right and all that, or Monk, I definitely want to see more Monk, and fingers crossed that we maybe just hit a home run there. You never know. We've mostly written him off. I know I have for whatever reason. But who knows? You never know what can happen. But I think I'm more. It'll be more a test come training camp. We got very, very small and limited glimpses of mostly like install type stuff. We'll get a better idea of what they're trying to do the closer we get to the season. But definitely have a long way to go, and there's a lot of fear on my end that it would be a miracle if this group of people came together and we just had a dominant offensive line. Not to say it's going to be bad. I think the fact that worst case scenario, we have Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom anchoring the tackle spots, and I have a level of comfort with Elton Jenkins and Josh Myers that it's like, there's a baseline floor here. But still, the gap between where I feel like we are and being very, very good there's quite a gap there. So we'll see. We'll see how training camp goes, and Morgan's going to be a big question. Again, I may be overreacting too, but just from the little cues I've gotten so far, I don't know that we got ourselves a good player there, especially in year one. That may be kind of a multi-year developmental thing. We'll have to see.
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
What's up?
How are you?
Good.
So, I tell you what, as I said last week, I'm already so excited about our rookie linebacker, Cooper. Especially after the Fred Warner comments last week, I'm like on the verge of like a cardiac event. I'm that excited to hear the coach actually seriously think that the rookie linebacker had the script for the offense. I've never heard of that before. I've got to think that's real good, So I'm trying to temper my enthusiasm, but the news isn't allowing me to do that. And I don't know why I'm weirded out by it. It's like equal parts excitement, equal parts fear. I just want the guy to be what I think he can be. You know what I mean? Just land the plane, have him be as awesome as we all kind of think he might be. And I just want to see it so bad. I just think his success is going to be so huge in determining how successful that defense is. If he can come out and be a stud, it's going to be next level. So awesome to hear, man. Thanks for the good work. Talk to you.
Yeah, the reports on Edgerrin have been pretty fantastic. That's another reason if you're going to pick one to kind of break out, he's the guy. There's really only maybe, 4 that are going to be playing potentially, and 3 that are going to be playing like full-time roles. With obviously a running back kind of splitting time. We'll see. We'll see who ends up playing. There may be more. But if you add to that, Edgerrin was the top linebacker, which arguably so was Quay, although certainly debatable. Add in, the reports out of camp, which contrast with, Bullard, there's been nothing positive or negative, really. It's just been kind of right down the line like everybody else. I think with Morgan, it's been maybe not quite as great, but with Edgerrin, it's like, holy crap, this guy is impressive. Like sniffing out stuff. You mentioned just kind of knowing what's going on the field. The coach talking about, we really thought he was going to, we thought we were going to catch him on that one. And then, like you said, the coach asking, did you give him the play beforehand or whatever? Yeah, it's there, man. And, I hate to say we're due because, obviously we've had some hits, but there's always kind of caveats. Like Watson is a hit. He's a good football player, but he's not Devontae, and there's injury issues. And Dobbs is a hit, but that's kind of like considering his draft position, he's a hit. And Wicks is a hit considering his draft position, but he's not Devontae type of guy. It would just be nice to have like a guy that, when the game starts, the announcers talk about him. Like, you got to watch out for this guy right here. He's the leader of the defense. He is arguably the best linebacker in football. He is an absolute terror. You know what I mean? It's like Rashawn is good. He's definitely good. I've pointed out before that he's one of the better pass rushers, but last year was a down year. And, the amount of that he's actually played has been minimized because his first 2 years he was on a pitch count. Year 3, he comes in and he plays well, but nobody thinks he does because it's not really showing in the sack numbers. And then he gets injured, and there's always something. Jair was that guy for 1 year, and then he got hurt, and then he kind of slowed down, and it's like, all right. The Packers do a really good job of getting good players, but I don't know how often, and granted, they don't pick top 5, but I don't know how often that anybody that they draft is a serious consideration for being like offensive or defensive player of the year. Now, it's going to be hard for a linebacker, but I'm just talking about that caliber of guy. I don't care if he wins the award. If he plays like a top-tier linebacker as a rookie, I'm stoked. We haven't had that in a while. So you're right. Just everything's there. All the reports are great. Everything's pointing toward a thing. Maybe it's a little pie in the sky and we shouldn't get our hopes up, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyways, so just do it. Will you? Just be that guy. Let me get irrationally excited and let me be right. Is that too much to ask?
Hey, I forgot to add this on my call, but, you know, I'm sure other people probably call about this, but watching Saleh in his press conference for the Jets, you know, explaining why Rodgers is unexcused for minicamp and blah, blah, blah. I don't even care. I don't care at all about their situation or any of that, but I don't, regardless of this, what the reason, like, I'm just so happy that we don't have to be talking about that at, you know, inside 1265. I mean, all these press conferences would have been just about where's Aaron? Is it okay for Aaron not to be here? How detrimental is it to lose time with the receivers with Aaron not here? I'm just so glad we don't have, like, yeah, okay, lip service on a podcast show, fine. But, like, none of the professionals in Lambeau have to spend any time thinking about this at all. Yeah. And it's just so nice. The reporters ask questions. We get answers. We're just talking about football. One person doesn't dominate the entire press conference. So, you know, even if Rodgers comes out and he's, whatever, MVP, great. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad we don't have to spend, it just takes up the oxygen in the room all the time. You know what I mean? And, you know, God bless him. He had a lot of great years for us. But this is exactly the kind of crap that I don't miss, you know? Yeah. Like I said the other day, you know, I don't miss him screaming at the receivers for whatever nonsense. And I don't miss this crap. And you know, yeah, nobody's asking the reporters to ask these questions. But obviously, man, you're not showing up. It's the New York sports media. I think Rodgers got a pass last year, and he also, like, actually showed up. I think he's going to find out this year, if they haven't already, they're going to, if he keeps this up, the New York sports media is not the Green Bay sports media. So, yeah. The honeymoon that he had and Favre had for a couple of years at the end, they're not going to give that to him. He hasn't earned it with the Jets. You know, it's the opposite. He's hurt the Jets so far. So, I mean, of course there's going to be a media storm about it. I don't know what he's thinking, you know. But like I said, I don't ultimately care. I just care that we get to focus on football, which ultimately Green Bay are that town, unlike any other town, is a one-track mind. It's about the Green Bay Packers and football, and I'm just so grateful we can just focus on that once again.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken my piece on it, but I was talking to my aunt about it yesterday, and I said, you know, Saleh really looks like a punk by having to go out there and, you know, just the way he handled it. And, you know, she's like, well, I don't think you can say anything. What can you say? It's Aaron Rodgers. And I just said, well, that's the problem. You know, that's the problem with the situation. That was the problem in Green Bay, too. It's like, well, you can't say that about Rodgers. Well, then that's an issue then. If you have a guy that you feel you can't reprimand, that you can't say anything about, you can't mention either to him or publicly, I mean, that's a problem, you know? And that's just the situation with Rodgers. You know, some of it is just you can't even necessarily blame him. Some of it you can, some of it you can't. The fact that teams treat him the way that they treat him is a team/cultural problem more than Rodgers' problem, but it's still a problem. The drama, that might be 50% Rodgers' fault and 50% nobody wants to shut up about the guy, you know, and everything he does is under a microscope, and everything he does is blown up, and he's asked a million questions and all that stuff. I mean, there's things that become drama that wouldn't be drama if somebody else did it. But it's still there, you know, regardless of the situation, it's still a thing. And that's, you know, that's a problem that supersedes Rodgers' actions. It's beyond his actions. It's just him by virtue of being the superstar that he is. It causes a problem, and it will for many others that reach his level. Then you add on the things that are specifically his fault, like just not showing up to stuff because you have prior engagements. It's like, dude, I mean, he's the only one of the inexcused absences. There's only one guy that didn't show up that it was because of something other than contract disputes. Everybody else, it's contract disputes. It's a negotiating tactic that they were told to do probably by their agents. This is just, I've got something better to do. Oh, well, excuse me. You know? And again, you get that like, well, how dare you say that he doesn't care or he doesn't want it or whatever. It's like, well, that's how. There's only one guy that's got better stuff to do than play football, and his name is Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, I mean, if it's peak Aaron Rodgers, if it's 2011, you put up with it. At this age, after what we saw in 2022 and a Achilles tear last year, ain't worth it, man. It's just not. It's the Jets' problem. And you're right. He could go on to win MVP, and good for him. It still doesn't change anything. I don't want it. I'm done. We're moving on. We got something else. But from the Jets' perspective, he better win MVP. Otherwise, this has been catastrophic. As much as the Jets are already an embarrassment just by virtue of being the Jets, it has been, even for the Jets, a monumental embarrassment this past year with Aaron Rodgers. If things get off to a bumpy start, which they already have with this latest debacle, on top of all the other things that have leaked out, which, by the way, is another thing that happens. There's constant leaks coming out. I don't know if it's just because things are so unbelievably toxic in an Aaron Rodgers locker room that people start talking, or if you got the investigative journalists that are really probing into the area. I have no idea. But there's constantly negative things leaking out of those locker rooms. And, it's whatever. Enjoy. Have a good time. Time to move on. Here we go. Anyways, that's it. I'm out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.